And yeah, so he has an awesome level of English from Morocco, so with Arabic, like the rest of you guys. And so I think it would be really helpful for you to hear how he has learned English so well so far. So try to take some notes about how he's learned, and that will really help you. So floor is yours to introduce yourself and say how you've learned English.
Some people here are asking us to speak Arabic, and actually I think that in the post that you made, you have mentioned that we will speak only English. And yeah, so there's no Arabic, guys, if you're waiting for Arabic. But if there is any problem with something that you want us to translate or ideas that are not clear, we can do that. So
yeah, specific words.
Myself, my name is Abdrazak. I'm from Morocco. I'm actually an English teacher. I'm an English teacher, and I've been teaching English for 4 years. I have a BA, a bachelor degree in English studies, and many trainings in about English and teaching English, actually. So yeah, and I'm really interested in creating content on YouTube, actually, and on Instagram. So I do that all the time. I try to help people learn English and advise them all the time. So this is what I like to do.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, thank you. So can you tell us just kind of a short summary of how you've gotten to your current level of English? What were some things that were really helpful for you? Yeah, just how were you able to get such a good level of English?
Yeah, actually, the English language is not the second language here in Morocco. It's French. We have French as a second language. So we learn French like from the primary. We don't learn any English. We start studying English actually in the middle school. I mean, in the after like 6, 7, 8 years. Okay, so after 8 years of studying of school, we start learning the English. And actually, we start just the basics of English. But well, after that, I wasn't really interested in learning English. But then when I got my baccalaureate, I mean, when I finished high school, I just got this idea into my head, and I started to say, why not studying this language? Especially I was interested in the American culture, in the American pop music, especially like the type of Michael Jackson and stuff like that. So I used to listen to music a lot. So this also helped me like love the culture and try to learn more English. And then back then I decided, actually it was a decision to start studying English in college. And I did that, and I started studying English studies in university. I spent there 4 years, and then I got my BA and started teaching English. And the level I have now is like just, I got it from practice, especially with my students. So the more I practice, the more I feel like my English is getting better and better.
Yeah, awesome. Sweet, thank you. So yeah, that's the biggest thing, practice, right? You don't get any better without practicing. So yeah, so hopefully that's helpful for all of you guys to think about what were some things he did, and how can you do it? That if it's possible for him, it's possible for you too. So yeah, so I was gonna talk a little bit before you joined about how I learned Arabic. And yeah, I'm still learning, so I still have a long way left to go. But I praise God for the progress that I have made. And so yeah, it's similar to you. I went to Saudi Arabia just over 3 years ago, and I knew almost no Arabic. I knew how to say apple and good morning, but couldn't speak Arabic at all. And so the biggest thing, which I think for everybody watching, is that I just really, really wanted to learn. I was really focused, and because I saw it as an opportunity to speak with people. There were Uber drivers that I couldn't talk with because they didn't know English, I didn't know Arabic. And so I really wanted to learn so that I could speak with them. And so one of the things that really helped me in the beginning was a program called Memrise, that I'll write it here. It's a free program online or on your phone that you can download. And I found the 2,000 most common words in Arabic. And I just started going through that because I needed words. I needed vocabulary. I didn't know them. And that app was really helpful. And then, yeah, also took some online classes with the guy from Morocco, actually, so learned some stuff there. Right? Yeah,
the guy from Agadir?
Yeah, I was in Agadir, but this guy was online, so which is cool.
He was Moroccan.
Yeah. And so he taught me the Fusha, the MSA, as we say in English, MSA, yeah. So started with that. Then later on switched to trying to learn the Saudi dialect, since I was living in Saudi. And so tried switching all over to that. Then I went to Jordan.
I see that you speak in like more Saudi than the classical Arabic. Isn't that right?
Yeah. I've forgotten a lot of the classical Arabic because I was doing all the Amiya, the Saudi Arabic.
It's more difficult. It's more difficult to learn the classical Arabic. Even for us as Arabs, we find it very difficult to learn because that's a very tough language.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, the biggest thing, like almost the whole time, it was just all in my free time. That I had a full-time job, just in my free time, I tried to learn as much as I could. And so that's the big thing for you guys is you may not have 10 hours a day to study, but if you have 1 hour, 30 minutes, whatever you have, spend that time studying. And a big thing that was really helpful for me was just like, trying to put as much time in as possible, but then also being okay with making mistakes. People laughed at me at times when I made lots of mistakes, but I laughed at myself, and that's okay.
You felt comfortable about that. I think you felt comfortable about that because you. Yeah,
exactly. You just have to be okay with it and say that's normal. That when you learn a new language, you're like a baby all over again. So, so you'll have lots of mistakes in the beginning. But yeah, just kept continuing on with that. Trying to do a lot of the things that we'll talk about today were different strategies that I tried using of a lot of shadowing, repeating things, just practice. So still have a long way left to go, but I'm thankful for the practice.
I see some people here, they're saying that they in the Middle East, like from Saudi Arabia and the Emirates and all those countries, they say that they found it difficult to understand us in North Africa because our dialect is pretty different, They don't understand us. We do. We can understand like Saudi people. We can understand people from Kuwait, people from Qatar. Everywhere we can understand them as Moroccans, as Algerians, North Africans. But they find like very big difficulties understanding us. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So maybe you guys can let us know in the comments. Have you tried, like, are you from North Africa trying to learn the Middle Eastern or understand the Middle Eastern Arabic or vice versa? Has that been hard for you guys? So you can let us know in the comments. So sweet. We're both in the same boat, making progress.
Yeah, sure.
So I'll get going with the first question then, that had the most likes from XKHOVOXO. It's a lot of O's there. They asked, does reading books, is reading books better than watching movies or series to learn English? So what would you say to that one? Is it better to watch movies or read books?
Well, I'd say it depends on what do you really want to learn. What is the language that you want to acquire or the language that you want to have? If you are like a student and you want to use your English to write like academic essays and to to do a PhD or something like that, then reading books actually is the way to go. Reading books is really important because it's gonna get you like more vocabulary, and it's gonna get you like more exposed to new vocabulary every day, and you will also get the style of writing, which you cannot get from movies, from watching movies. If you watch movies, you get just the language of the language that we use in conversation, the language that is informal, and that's not going to help you as a student if you want to write, if you want to to produce like good essays. So reading, I think it's the best way to learn any language because it teaches you many things at the same time. If you read, and especially if you read out loud, you will learn sometimes you will learn pronunciation, you will practice speaking when you read out loud, and you will learn grammar. You will see the structure of how sentences are composed and everything, and you will learn also the style. You will develop your style with time. That's
Yeah.
and reading movies and watching movies actually is a great way. I see that watching movies can help you like speak. Yeah, the more you listen, the more you're exposed to the language, the more you listen, the more you'll be able to speak. That's for sure. But I'd prefer like reading books. Reading books is better.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. So, yeah, just to kind of add on to that, I've shown this picture before that I think is really a helpful way to think about it. Where, like, when you want to learn English, there are lots of parts to it. If only your listening is good, but you don't have reading, writing, or vocabulary, it's going to be pretty hard. And so with that, comparing reading versus listening, obviously reading books will help you a lot more with the reading, which will also help you with writing. Listening will help you more with speaking and pronunciation. So those two are more connected. I think reading is better for vocabulary and grammar. You do realize a lot more of that. So reading is a way that even native speakers, yeah, massive man, we got the Hulk here. This is me. So
very massive.
yeah. But yeah, so you really need to focus on all of those. And so I think most people have a lot of practice with listening. They watch movies and listen to music. Most of you probably have a lot of practice with that. Now you probably need some practice with reading. So I would recommend trying to read more, because even native speakers, that's how a lot of people learn more vocabulary, is through reading a lot. And so that's something that's really important. So try to tie all of those together. If you have really strong left leg, but a really weak right leg, you're going to have some problems. So yeah, exactly. So it doesn't work out so well.
I think I could try and mix both of them. Like try to watch movies and at the same time try to read from time to time.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I recommend that you try to like set a schedule to do 30 minutes of reading, then 30 minutes of listening, then 30 minutes of reading, 30 minutes of listening, and then add in some speaking, because you need both of those. And you'll get bored if you only do one. So yeah, what some other people asked about how to find good English books. Remember where the question was? Yeah, N_8RAH Saleh. So what books do you recommend for improving English reading? So what would you say about that?
Beginners, for beginners.
Yes, for all different levels. Yeah, that's
all different levels. Well, listen, the best thing I think is to try to read stories, because stories, they're fun, and everyone can get along with stories better than other disciplines. If you read stories, you will be like you will feel like you will find yourself in these stories, and you will follow the story until the end. So this way you will not get bored. It's not as if you're reading like something that you're not interested in. I think stories, everyone will be interested in stories. Even if you you like something different, you find yourself in stories. And if you have an interest, like someone who is interested in cooking, or maybe interested in sport, try to find books in that field, or in that interest. So find your interest and try to read in your interest. That's going to help you. If you want my advice, actually, for beginners, I'd recommend stories of Macmillan's. If you know those stories, Macmillan stories, they're good. And there are many levels. You can read in which level you want, which is pretty helpful for beginners. I think when you reach the intermediate level, at that time you will start like develop yourself more through reading. That time you will feel. But as a beginner, you will depend in the beginning on listening more. But after that, when you're intermediate, you can understand the language, you can understand people speaking. So at that time, you can move and go and read a lot. Actually, reading is a great thing to go. Yeah,
that's good. Good point. Yeah, like what you said at the beginning, there's not like one book that is good for everybody. Like you said, it depends on your level. Somebody who's at an advanced level and somebody at a beginner level need different books. But then also, like you said, finding something you're interested in. If you don't care about the subject, you won't learn.
Don't read about it. Yeah.
Exactly. And so if you will never learn anything, like you don't care about health, but you're reading all this stuff about health, it's going to be a lot harder for you. But if you love sports, exactly. If you love sports, read about sports. And so I put in the comments, I just tag or pinned there a website that's really good for finding books that are good for your level. So go on to that website and search for books with your interest and your level, and it will help to connect you with it. There's another really good one that's I've mentioned before, readtheory.org. That will be a good way to test your level in the beginning, to kind of see, see where your level is. I'll post both of these afterwards as well in the comments or in the description. This is a good way of finding your level, so then you know what exactly you need. So so there's a lot of good options out there, but those are some ways to do it.
These first two questions are both related to reading. I think people are really interested in reading.
Yeah, which is great. That is really good. So then with that, let's go to the next most popular question. We have Best Touch asked, I want to master the English language and to speak fluently. What do you recommend? So what would you say? Kind of a big question there. But,
I mean, that's a very broad question. It's very broad. Because sometimes when we want to do something, we need to be specific about what we want. Otherwise, we will be lost. If you want to learn English, in a certain period, try to set a goal or objective to your learning. Don't say, well, I want to learn English or I want to master the language. This is like the big goal. Try to make, for example, let's say for this month, like the first month, I want to, let's say, I want to understand all the vocabulary related to the airport or all the vocabulary related to sport or something like this. So try to set objectives, because that's the biggest goal. Mastering the language and having the fluency and speaking English and understanding, that's the biggest goal. How to answer this question? Actually, we can combine many things. Actually, it's not one magical way. It's not one step or two or three. It takes more than that, and it depends on the person. Actually, as we said, for the same thing we said for books can be applied for fluency and for speaking. The question was about speaking, right?
Fluency, yeah, I think in particular speaking, but everything together.
Yeah, so fluency, it takes time. That's what you need to put in mind. Don't think that, well, you'll get fluency from the first step or the second step. Fluency takes time. And the key, you've heard it before, I think you've heard it many millions times, the key is practice. So the more you practice, the more fluent you'll become. So if you can find someone in your family or someone at work or a colleague or anyone who speaks English, try to use the language. If you're Arabic, if you're living in an Arabic country, try to practice with him every day, speak to him, have normal conversation with him. This way, through time, you find yourself getting along with the language and mastering it with time. So practicing is the most important key for me.
Yeah, that is huge. And yeah, with that, I saw somebody in the comments trying to connect with people and say, let's practice speaking together. So yeah, do that in the comments. Try to find a speaking partner, somebody on here that you can speak with on Instagram for 30 minutes a day. That would be really great practice. So,
and also if you're interested, guys, there are many apps on App Store, or you can find them. One of them is Cambly. If you will go and Google it, you'll find it. Cambly offers you to speak, can allow you to speak to native speakers. And there is also the app called Speaky. There you can find people interested in practicing their English through typing, through messages like typing, and through also voice calling or video calling. You'll find it very interesting. If you want to practice, if you have this will to practice, I'm sure that you will find a way. It depends on you, actually. So you are the key. If you are willing to do that, you will do it. If you want to find a partner to practice with, I'm sure you'll do it. You'll find no problems doing that.
Yeah.
Someone is mentioning Duolingo. Yes, Duolingo is good too.
Yeah. Yeah, Memrise is one that I used a lot. They didn't have Arabic for Duolingo then, but they're both really great. So, yes, I recommend those, especially at the beginning, just to get the words. You just need vocabulary at the beginning. But Yeah, so with that, I would say that something important to keep in mind, like you said, it's important to have small goals of this week, I want to accomplish this, but also to remember the big picture, that you won't learn English in a month or 2 months. It takes a long time. So something that can be helpful as like kind of a number to aim for is, people say, around 3,000 focused study hours is what it takes to get to a pretty high level of English.
How much?
So if you have that in your mind, what was that?
How much?
3,000.
3,000.
Yeah, there's different websites kind of.
It's the first time I heard this.
Okay. Yeah.
3,000 hours, right?
Yeah, different studies kind of come with different numbers, but that's kind of like the average.
The average,
when you take
3,000.
Yeah. For coming from Arabic. If you speak Spanish and you're learning English, it'll take fewer hours because they're closer. But from Arabic, it's a little harder. So if you think about that, how can I get to 3 hours of focused English time? That's the most important thing. If you can find a website that's a little better or a little something like that, that can help a little more. But the most important thing is the number of hours. If you get to 3,000 hours of focused study time, you will be in a really good spot. And so kind of plan that out. If you are understanding this conversation now, you've probably had at least 1,000 hours or 500 hours. You're on a good path. And so seeing how long does it take for me to get to that 3,000 hours of focused study time. If you're sitting there watching the TV while sleeping, that doesn't help you. But that focus time where your mind is fully engaged. And so, yeah, that's, if you average it out to 2 hours a day, that's 4 years. 4 years, 2 hours a day to get to a pretty high level of English, which is great. It seems like a long time, but that's great.
What this studies that shown that 3 hours is, did they say like 3 hours is the average for speaking English, for mastering the fluency, or just for understanding and?
Yeah, 3,000 is to get to kind of like the end of B2, beginning of C1 level. Yeah. So kind of to get to upper intermediate, advanced level, kind of all around. So whichever skills you focus on in those 3,000 hours, you'll be stronger in, but they'll all be connected. So
I see some comments here. People saying I have more than 3,000 hours of learning and of studying the English language, but still I can't speak like fluently. I can understand, but I can't speak. So
yeah, so that would be in those 3,000 hours, you probably spent a lot of time listening, 3,000 listening hours, which is awesome. That's really great for vocabulary. But yeah, you also need the practice of speaking. If you never speak, you'll never be able to speak. So yeah, I definitely try to get as many hours as you can now of speaking practice. Try to aim for 500 hours of speaking practice. 2 hours a day, an hour a day, 15 minutes a day. Whatever you can do, try to add to those hours of speaking practice so you'll get better at that. So yeah. Somebody asked, or was it? I lost the question. Oh yeah, this is a really good question that's related to this. 51_0 said, how can we think in English? I think that is a really important part of this question of how to master English and to become fluent. So what would you say? What helped you to think in English?
Well, I think this is normal for beginners or even for intermediate students to think in English. Why? Because we have a system that has been instilled in our mind, and this system works in Arabic. So whenever you want to speak, the lack of vocabulary you have and the lack of structures of grammar and all this stuff, it drives you to think in Arabic and then try to transfer what is in Arabic into English, and that is normal. So how can you stop that? It will stop with time. I don't know that anyone has suggested a practical way to do that. Actually, there are many titles. I see many headlines on YouTube, people offering magical ways to stop thinking that, well, the ultimate solution for people to stop thinking in Arabic and thinking in English. And I don't think that is applicable. I don't think that we can apply this actually in reality. It takes time. It develop stopping this process of translation takes time. So you will overcome it with time. You will not like do it at once. If you're looking for a magical way, if you're looking for a practical way, I don't think that you will find one. But just try to build your vocabulary. Try to listen more, to practice more. This way, your brain will get used to the language and will ultimately like immediately start thinking in English and speaking in English.
Yeah, there's some good points. One thing I would add to that is to kind of try to practice thinking in English. So one thing that can be really helpful is sit in your room and try to describe the room around you in your mind in English. So instead of saying the words out loud, just look and say, okay, there's a wall, it's a blue wall. Under it, there's a chair. There's a door over there. Just try thinking all those things like you're speaking to a friend. Just do all that in your mind. That will start to train your mind to think more and more in English. And then start doing that in more and more places. Go outside. Describe outside in your mind without moving your mouth. That'll start to change your mind a little bit. And then for other things, when you're thinking throughout your day, I think that it's really important. We're always thinking. You're normally thinking in Arabic. Just stop and then translate it in your mind to English. Each time you think in Arabic, translate it to English. The more you do that, the more your brain will be able to make that transition. Like I remember for myself, when I started being able to think in Arabic, it was like awesome. Like, wow, I can just switch into Arabic and think that way. But it took practice. It took trying to really force my mind to think that way. So try that out because it will give you amazing speaking practice, speaking in your mind throughout the day. So again, start off with describing the room around you, describe outside, translate your thoughts, and then just continue with that. So yeah, it's hard work. It's hard work, but it will help you.
Yeah, I think also our minds are lazy. So they want the easiest way. Like the easier way is to think in the language that you know and the language in which you have more vocabulary. So we have more vocabulary in Arabic. That's why we think about everything in Arabic. For example, if you show me this or this, you say qalamun, okay? Qalam. So if you say like qalam, it's already there in your mind. But in English, it takes time to say that a pen. So you will need to get used to it in order to produce it or to say it or to think of it as pen. So in your mind, for your brain, it's qalamun. It's not a pen.
Yeah.
Do you see my point? You may know it. You may, for example, hear me saying this is a pen, and you repeat it. But afterwards, when you want to think about this, you will think of it as qalamun, not as a pen.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think is one of the benefits of trying to think in English, because when you're doing that by yourself, you can have your dictionary or your translator out. So you're trying to think of the word for qalam, and you can't think of it. Type it into your translator, and now you have the word in English. That's a great way to gain new words and try using them right away. That I do that all the time because there are lots of words you don't know. But that's a great time to stop, translate it, and use it right away. And that helps it to stay in your mind. So I think that can be really helpful. Because most people complain about not having enough speaking practice. Thinking is great speaking practice. It gets the thoughts generating sentences. And then you can start actually saying them out loud. Speak to a mirror, and that will help you a lot. So
there are also some another one. I think some in our everyday life we do like we came across like some I don't know, some accidents, some things that are included in our daily life. It's like, for example, when you drop a pen, you say, "Oops, I dropped it. I dropped it." You see, when you practice it, like, don't say it in Arabic, just try to say it in English. This way, your mind will think of it as the verb to drop, so you will not need to think of it again.
Yeah, it takes a conscious effort where you really need to focus and choose to do it. It doesn't always happen naturally. You need to choose to change to English over and over again. So just make that as a goal throughout your day. So Yeah, let's go to the next question. So we talked about listening, or talked about speaking and reading. This one by Sarah Keljau says, how do I improve my listening? So what would you recommend for that, to improve your listening skills? And I know some people here mentioned as well, sometimes they get the main idea, but it's hard for them to get all the details, or when people speak fast.
Yeah, sure.
So what would you recommend?
I think for beginners, it's better if you listen, like, to try to pick up something that is in your level. I mean, some, especially speeches. If you look for example, TEDx speeches or TEDx talk, you'll find like some speeches are like slow, and there's also an option in YouTube where you can slow down the videos. You know that? You can slow down the videos.
Yeah, that is really nice.
Yeah, so this way you can listen. Okay, you can because most of the native speaker, they speak like very, very, very fast. So if you're a beginner, you find it very difficult to understand or to keep up with them. So just try to slow down sometimes, and yeah, try to train your ears. Try to make your ears suffer. Okay, don't take it easy, because you will suffer at the beginning. You will not find it like very easily going. You'll find it difficult. So try to not lose hope. Even if you don't understand sometimes, just keep on listening. Okay, keep on listening. Maybe you will pick up like 3 or more vocabulary, and then afterwards you will get more. You will get 10, and after that you will get 20 vocabulary, and etc. So this way you will train your mind to listening. And another point I want to add, there are many ways actually, which is like I used to listen to the radio, to the American radios. There is an app called US Radio. I don't know if you're aware of that app. US Radio.
I'm not sure. Not familiar with it now.
I type it. This app allows you to. Okay, there you go. I tapped it on in the comments. So US Radio, this app allows you to listen like to all the radio stations in the United States. So you can go from station to station, and for sure you will find something interesting for you, and you will enjoy it, I'm sure. You're driving your car, you're sitting at home relaxing, yeah, turn on the radio and listen to news, to podcasts, anything. So you will learn from that. Also, there is the movies, which is the pretty famous way of listening, which can help you a lot. But try to focus during the movie. Don't just go with the events and neglect the. So try to focus a little bit. Yeah. So this way you will benefit. You will get more vocabulary, and don't use Arabic subtitles. If you're a beginner, it's okay. But if you're intermediate, you can understand. Don't use Arabic subtitles. This way, your ear will get used to the language. Well, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Thank you for all that. That is helpful. Yeah. If somebody asked the topic, topic is just going through some of the questions that you guys have asked. So questions about learning English. So we're just going through whichever ones had the most likes in the comments. So yeah, kind of to start off with that. Some people mentioned enjoying listening to music. If you enjoy music, use this website that I just pinned, lyricstraining.com.
Yeah, good one.
It's really great for practicing listening. So yeah, you can try that. Yeah, in terms of improving your listening level, I think that what is most helpful is something that is hard. The easiest things don't help as much. The hard things are what helps a lot of times, because your mind is more focused. When your mind is more engaged, you learn a lot more. It's kind of like if you go to the gym and you lift 1 kilogram, you can do that all day, but you don't really get any stronger. When you go to the 50 kilograms, you're like dying, but that helps you a lot more. So same thing with English. The things that are hard help you even more. So yeah, with learning English, like you said, find something you are interested in. If you don't like the subject, you won't learn. Find something that you enjoy learning about. And so I would say find a video about that, like TEDx.com or ed.ted.com. Find something you like and try to watch 1 minute, get the main idea, listen again, and then listen to every sentence. Listen to a sentence and pause. If you didn't hear every word, rewind, go back,
Yeah.
and listen again and again and again. Maybe you need to listen to the sentence 10 times to hear it right. But that will help your brain for when you go outside and you can't pause, right? When you're at home, that's when you can pause. So try to take advantage of that opportunity to pause and listen again and again and again, so your brain and your ears can connect with it. So that's something that's really helpful.
I like this this idea that to make your brain suffer, to try to focus more. If you are like focused, you will learn more. It's not like if you listen to something easy. If you find that what you're listening to is easier for you, go ahead, move on to something like harder. Don't keep on listening to something that you understand like 100%. It's not really helping you. Okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you see the point? If you're, for example, intermediate, and you used to listen to some staffs, and these staffs, you reach a level one day where you can like understand 100%, just stop it and then move to something harder than that. So this way you'll you stay updated.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, they say that you should aim for listening to something that you understand around 80% of. If you understand 50%, that won't be too helpful. If you understand 100%, that's not helpful. Go for around 80%, 70 to 90%, something like that. So it's a little above your level, but you can still understand it. So that's something that's really, really important. So try to do that.
Vocabulary. You will get new vocabulary. It's not like if you're listening to something that you're already familiar with.
Yeah, that is true. Some people have mentioned rap and said they don't like rap. I would say I used to be the same. I used to hate rap because there was so much, like you said, so much profanity, lots of bad words and bad topics. So I hated it. But then I'm going to send you guys a guy named Lecrae, who he has music about good stuff, and he's a great rapper. I started listening to him. Now I like rap. He changed my mind. So maybe you guys can try him. He may help out. Also, some people, we've had different comments. Some people have said you're speaking too fast. Some people said speak faster. We're going to try to go in the middle, okay?
Some people, they stop speaking English and speak Arabic, I know.
Yeah, so we'll go in the middle, kind of a not too fast, not too slow.
That's what we told you at the beginning, that we don't learn in the same way, you see? So we don't learn in the same way. So everyone learns in his own way. Yeah,
and somebody also mentioned NF. Yeah, he has some good music as well, without lots of profanity. So yeah, there are good rappers out there. You just need to search and find them. So, and we are reading your comments. We just can't respond to all of them.
He's really fast. They say Eminem here, but Eminem is really fast. Yeah.
And he has a lot of bad words in his song, so there you go. So next question. We kind of talked about this, but maybe touch on it again. How can I make my English better and have good conversations? So what would you add on from what we already said? There we go, Lauren. Lecrae is great.
Yeah,
yes, I am American.
Make conversations. What is the question?
It was, how can I make my English better and have better conversations? So we'll focus on that part. How can I grow in my conversational English?
Well, it all depends on the subject you're speaking about. And if you are interested, the more you're interested in the subject, like the idea we said in the beginning, the more you're interested in the subject, the more you'll keep on with the conversation. The more fun your conversation will sound. If you're speaking like, I know some people like who are very weak in the language and their level is really low, but when it comes to their favorite subjects, they can speak. Yeah. You get impressed. How can you speak English? Why he can speak? Because the subject is interested. It happens with my students when I speak to them about something that they like. About cartoons, sometimes, especially primary. When I speak to them about UCG's primary, and when I open a subject about cartoons, about sport, about their favorite subject, the interest of the kids, you find them jumping to speak. Everybody wants to speak, and they speak English, and they keep engaged. So the more the subject is interesting to you, the more you find the subject interesting, the better you become like in this conversation, and you will keep up in the conversation. You will never stop because you will find ideas. You know, it's more about the ideas. So sometimes you have ideas, but you can't express them. You can't like say them in English. But since the topic is interesting to you, since the topic is fun for you, it's like you try to get it out from your mouth, like this way or the other. You see, so you suffer in order to get out these words.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, like you mentioned at the beginning, the most important thing is to practice it. You won't get any better at conversations if you never have conversations. And so you need to have conversations. That can be hard if you don't live in a country where there are many people who speak English. But I can guarantee you, whatever country you live in, there are people who are trying to learn English. And there are people around your English level. And so, like we said even before, find people in the comments here who you can talk with, who you can find a language partner. You need a language partner. It can be somebody in your family. It can be a friend. It can be some random person on Instagram.
Online, but someone online.
What was that?
Someone online, like on Instagram, or everywhere.
Perfect, yeah. Anything, try to find somebody who's around your level. If you can find somebody above your level, even better. But try to find somebody at least around your level and just set how often you want to speak together. If you can do 15 minutes every day.
I just will switch it. Like, Pierre, I have a question for you. I usually get questions about that. Should we like practice with someone who is like above our level, or should we practice to someone who is like close to our level, the same level as we are? Because there are problems for both. Like when you practice with someone who is like above your level, you don't feel comfortable. Why? Because you feel that your language is below him. So this way you get stressed sometimes. You don't feel confident because the other person is like a native speaker, or even his English is better than you. So what would you recommend? Speaking to someone who's above our level, speaking to someone who's close to us, or even speaking to someone who is like below us? I don't.
Yeah, I'd say at least at your level or above. If you can't find anybody, you can find somebody at a lower level, but at least at your level or above. If you can find somebody who has a much higher level, but they're willing to repeat what they say and they're willing to help you, that's even better. But that can be hard to find, right? People want to just continue in the conversation and go even faster. So yeah, probably good to find somebody at your level, a little bit above your level, because then they'll be using more words you're familiar with. And so just decide how often you want to do it. Every day, 30 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, 2 times a week, whatever it is, agree on that. And then every week, do that. If you're wondering, what do we talk about? Go to Google and type in conversation topics. Conversation topics, you'll see tons of topics, or conversation questions. You'll find a bunch of them. And just ask each other those and practice. You can stop, look it up in your dictionary, and try to do it that way. You'll only get better by practicing. So find a way to practice with somebody in English. Practice conversation. So, yeah. Yeah. Great. Let's see. So I think those are most of the questions.
I think they're around the same topic.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them are pretty similar.
Yeah.
So somebody, we'll do just a few more questions. Somebody said, how can I know what English level I have? You can look online. Just go to Google. Again, Google is awesome. Any questions you have, go to Google. And just type in English placement test. I'll type that in.
Yeah. English placement test, it helps you like test your level of English. And it's not really accurate, I think. It will not like give you 100% your level, but it will help you like place yourself, like know whether you're beginner or above that or below or something. Yeah, it's pretty close. So Google is awesome. But yeah, just search for that English placement test. If
if you want something that's like the best placement test, you could take the IELTS or the TOEFL, but those are a lot more expensive.
Yeah, because
English placement test.
That give you the exact, like, because it tests your speaking, it tests your listening, it tests all the 4 skills. But this one, English placement test, it tests just a part of your English understanding for some stuffs.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so those ones on there, if you search on Google, you can find some free ones. Try those, and they'll give you a general English level. So, yeah, somebody also mentioned, AMA595 mentioned putting sticky notes around the room. That's a really helpful thing as well.
Yeah.
Just any words that you're interested in, like, think about that. Do you know the words of everything you see in your room right now? If there's anything you don't know, look it up on Google, or look it up on Google Translate in a dictionary, write it on a sticky note, and put it on there. That's a great idea to learn new vocabulary. So if you don't know everything in your room, do that.
Nowadays, the knowledge is in our hands, so we don't have like to go far or to pick up a book, to open the book and search for, you know, before we have like the smartphones, you'll have to go to the dictionary and look up like the letter, the first letter, the second letter. Like it's pretty hard job. But now everything in your hand. You just like type the word, and immediately you'll get the word. You'll hear the word. You'll hear how we pronounce it. You will get like examples. You'll get everything, pictures. Now, just go, guys, and learn. There's nothing that is stopping you from learning the language. If you want to do it, you can do it.
Yeah, that is true. So there's so many opportunities, especially for English. Like there are more resources for learning English than any other language in the world. So you have a lot of resources. Don't get overwhelmed by them, where you say this is just too much. Just choose something. Like we said again. How can I get to 3,000 hours of English that includes all different skills together? That's what you really need to do. So the more you do it, the better you'll get. And then once you get to 3,000, you want to get to the C2 level, the advanced level. So then just keep adding on the hours. It's how many hours you have of focused English time. Watching movies is kind of like a half hour, right? What was that?
Just don't stop learning. Even if you're C or you're B or C or C plus or anything, just don't stop. It's like the learning process does not stop. You keep on learning new vocabulary. I think that you're a native speaker and you keep learning new vocabulary every day. So everyone is learning. I learn Arabic from time to time. I see some new words and I then go and check them out, especially the classical Arabic. There are some pretty hard, pretty hard vocabulary. So you need to check them out in order to know the meaning. Yeah, it's true. That's because in English there are about 200,000 words that are still in use, according to the Oxford Dictionary. The average native English speaker, so an American or somebody from Britain, on average, if they finished college, speaks or knows, like has mastered around 20,000 words. So that's 180,000 words they don't know. So we're learning new words all the time. You don't need to learn every single word in English. You just need to learn the words that come up in your conversations. When there's a new word, learn it. But don't worry about mastering every word, because you won't. Even Shakespeare, I think he had like 30,000 words, and that was pretty amazing. So yeah, everyone is learning. No one is perfect, I guess. But when you have like the basic vocabulary, you master these basics. Now you can have conversation like easily. You can speak easily. That's perfect. You don't need like to be like deep, going into every word, going into every vocabulary you find in your way. That's gonna be like pretty hard. Yeah.
So just it's a long race. Just take one step every day. Like we've said before, just take one step today. Because that can be the thing, is sometimes we say, I'm so far away that we don't do anything. But if you take one step every day, in 1 year, you've taken 365 steps. You've made a lot of progress. In 1 day, you don't see a difference, but in a year, you do. So, yes, we'll kind of wrap up with some of that. Just to keep going, see how can you get as many hours of focused English time as possible. And to try to use these strategies we've mentioned. And like some of you guys have said, you guys have been asking about starting a group. yeah, definitely try to do that. Connect with each other, send each other messages, create a group, and you guys can practice talking to each other whenever you have time. So that could be a really great way to connect. We'll post this, I'll post this on my wall after, and you can continue connecting and networking there. So, because yeah, you don't need to be in person to be able to talk with each other now. You've got the internet, so that could be great. So yeah, would you like to kind of share any closing thoughts?
You can just some people here, I see in the comments that some people here are offering like creating groups on WhatsApp or something. That's pretty useful, but this needs accuracy. You need to be like stick to that. If you decide to create a group on WhatsApp or everywhere on Telegram or something, you have to like keep it updated every day. Don't just create it and go like we have created a group for no reason. So create a group and then use it in improving your English skills. Okay, and I see that some people here are wondering if we some people are just new here. They're asking if you're Josh is American. He's a native speaker. I'm Arabic. I'm from Morocco. I speak Arabic. And in my videos, in the videos I create, I try to make Arabic subtitles and English subtitles so that everyone is following. So if you go to my profile, you'll find videos with Arabic subtitles. Josh is doing this as well, but he's doing it in a different way, I guess. You're adding like some headlines. And there you go. You have the two links. You can go to my page and follow me. I create videos about learning the English language, some English tips, some tips that you can use to improve your English vocabulary and stuff like that. And actually, I'm open to all your questions, guys. According to my experience, the small experience I have, 4 years teaching here in Morocco, and you can ask me anything you want. Josh is also here for you. I've actually invited him in one first live, and that live was pretty great. I think you will. We have uploaded on YouTube. It's available on YouTube if you want to rewatch it again. It was pretty useful, and many guys, they texted me, especially on Facebook. That's why I asked you about your Facebook, because people don't want to add you on Facebook, and they don't know the way to how they can do that. So they say, well, who's that teacher? He speaks Arabic. Actually, it's kind of weird, this idea to have an American teacher like learning English. It's kind of rare. It does exist, but most of the teachers who come in to work as teachers in Arabic countries, they just teach English. They never try to learn Arabic, and this is actually new. Some of my friends, they went to teach in China and they learned Chinese. Yeah, it's good to go to a place and learn their culture, to learn their language. That's why we're here.
Yeah, God created language to be able to communicate with Him and with others. So the more languages we learn, the more people we can communicate with. So that is important. So yeah, well, awesome having you again. Thank you very much for your time and for all of your insights. So yeah, make sure you check out Quick English to follow him and see a lot of his really great videos. There are a lot of people who make videos on Instagram for learning English. There are many pages that I see that have lots of mistakes in their English, but he has some really good stuff. So I would recommend following him.
I've tried to do my best to share what I've learned. Those things I've learned them, so I try to share them with you. Yeah,
that is great. So, well, thank you all for joining. Love you guys, and may the Lord give you His grace and peace.
Thank you so much. I will save this live, right?
I will do that. So, sure. So see you guys all next time.
Thank you.